Hey, everybody, it's Matt Michaels here on the Vegas Badboyz of Podcasting. I'm joined by DJ Impact, and today we have one of my favorite tag teams in the wrestling world ever.
Right.
The most relatable tag team to those of us who grew up in the Midwest and know what it's like to pound some beers and have some good food. The Bouncers, Beer City Bruiser, Brian Milonas. Guys, thank you guys so much for doing this, especially with the pay-per-view, the Best in the World pay-per-view coming right up here on Sunday. Finally, fans are back in the building. How are you guys anticipating this energy that you guys are going to experience on Sunday?
Oh man, it's gonna be exciting. 18 months with no Ring of Honor fans, working the empty arena TV tapings, and now we get to have fans. And we found out too we're on the first hour, so yep. Ryan and I are excited. We might not see eye to eye with fans right now, but we're still excited to hear them come and boo us.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. I think normally you think of pro wrestling, it's like you want to close the show, because you want to be the main event. But for this one coming back, and I've been telling Bruiser for a while now, that first one back, I'm totally cool for the first one's out through the curtain, because I think the energy is going to be wild. I think the place is going to be rocking, and I'm pretty excited for the first time in a long time for the Bouncers to really let the fans in Baltimore know what we think of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's true. In fact, you guys are wrestling PCO and Danhausen. What's really just kind of mind-boggling to me is, so back in March of 2020, ROH was coming into town. Literally, that weekend was going to be the big show at Sam's Town. Yep. We had PCO in for we were doing a live show at Boulder Station, and that was on, I think, a Wednesday. On Thursday, I went with him. I took him to the gym, and we were working out. And I start walking over to him, and he's sitting there, and he's looking at his phone. And I think he just got off the phone. He looks at me, and he goes, "Oh, the shit just hit the fan." Oh no, like, the whole thing's been canceled. Now that we're scrambling to get a flight back to Canada. And I'm like, holy shit. So it was like I literally was with him. The last person I hung out with before everything shut down was PCO. And it was so disappointing to see that you guys weren't getting a chance to wrestle, because you guys have, to me, one of my favorite not only gimmicks, but the entrance is just so much fun. I don't care if you're a face or a heel, when you get to do stuff like walk through the audience instead of coming from the backstage area, carrying the beer keg, I mean, drinking beer. It's like so over the time frame that you guys developed and kind of bonded together. I know, Bruiser, you were doing that first, where you were bringing the keg with you and having a seat on the keg. And how did you guys manage to take kind of that basis and then gel it together so you guys could become a cohesive tag team? Because you guys weren't like, Brian, you were a little bit newer to ROH when you were working your way, and then you guys got put together. So how was that for you guys, kind of forming a bond of friendship and getting to know how each other worked in the ring so you could form this outstanding unit?
Well, yeah, I think it's, the funny thing is, even before we're a tag team, I think we became pretty fast friends, just as I had, I'd been around for a little bit around Ring of Honor before we got put together, and me and the Bruiser just kind of had already naturally gravitated towards one another. So we had a good kind of chemistry behind the curtain already. And then there was a match we had up in Lowell, Massachusetts, against each other, ironically, that kind of made people open their eyes and go, "Hey man, these guys might be a really good pair to to put together. And I cut you off there, Bruiser, so I'll let you go.
No, like you're absolutely right. But the thing is, everyone thinks it's a gimmick, and it's really not. What you're seeing on TV is Brian and I just we turn it up. Brian also prefers red wine to beer, but he enjoys a few beers after the shows and stuff. But yeah, like Brian said, we were hanging out before that because with Ring of Honor, when you come in, they give you dark matches and stuff like that just to test you out. And Brian had, we had mutual friends with Pants and stuff, and Brian is really good. Hey, can you watch my match? Help me out. And so right away we just had that thing, and then it's like, oh, you're a dad, I'm a dad. Oh, you like, comic books and He-Man, I like comic books and and it just all of a sudden just became this friendship. And then now we're on the road together, and it's we're both big fans of sports. He's a big football fan, I'm a football fan. Baseball, we're just talking baseball, and it's easier in the ring to have chemistry with somebody when you actually like that person. And it's to the point now, what's really good is when Brian and I got back together after I had turned and on tape and stuff, and Brian was trying to figure out, when we got back together, that first match back, if you watch, Brian and I don't really talk to each other. We're just feeling each other out in the ring, and we're literally just going off each other's. It's weird because I can give him a look, he can give me a look, and we're on the same page. And that's
Right.
how you know we're a good tag team. It's because we know what each other is thinking and what we're going to do in that ring.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is we're cut from similar cloth. We had similar upbringings in the business, even though that we were trained obviously by different people, different parts of the country. But Bruiser by Harley Race, myself by Killer Kowalski. We just have those old school values instilled in us. And then we both ate a lot of shit before we got our break.
Yeah.
So our stories are similar in that we worked a long time, and we worked hard, and had the door shut in our face a lot before we got the chance in Ring of Honor. So I think that helped us bond too, because it was like, hey, this is our chance. So we both know that that feeling of chasing that dream for so long, and then finally getting that success, and understanding and having somebody with you that understands, like, hey, we got to do everything we can in our power to make sure we keep the train rolling.
And we both have the same chip on our shoulders because we both heard the same thing. Oh, you're too fat. Oh, you're too this. Oh, you're too that. You guys can't do that. We both literally heard that our whole careers. We've as we got to know each other, sharing similar stories. Hey, did this ever happen to you? Yeah, of course it happened to me. So like I said, we have that same chip on our shoulder. So now with Ring of Honor, we're both like, hey, here's our door. We're going to kick it open, and we're going to make sure people recognize us and see us. And that's what drives both of us.
Kind of speaking upon, being, looked at as not the physical body type, as the fat guy. How long did it take both of you guys? Now, Bruiser, you got more of a, street fighting, a brawling type style. But Brian, you do like athletic shit that, you shouldn't be able to, a normal, guy, my size, I look at myself at 390, and, working out and getting back to shape and stuff, I'm finding that I'm doing stuff people 390 shouldn't be doing. You're the same thing, man. You do stuff in the ring that's just like, wow, that was fucking phenomenal. But you also managed to tell a story, especially when you guys are a unit together. So how was it for you guys? Brian, were you athletic before? Did you play football? Same question to you, Bruiser. What was your guys' athletic background before getting into the ring for training?
Yeah, I played sports my whole life. I played football, baseball, basketball into high school and throughout high school. And I've always had, it's funny, like, because I think there's some really crazy athletic big guys that can do flippy stuff, and that's totally not me. I think for me, it's the fluidity with which I can move, and a lot of that too was also developed in wrestling school. When I think of the way my trainers trained me, I wasn't trained like a big guy, quote unquote. I had to do everything that everybody else did. So,
Yeah.
you know, the only thing I ever got a reprieve on was back body drops. And that's because nobody was strong enough to give me a back body drop. But everything else I had to do, all the drills, all the running, all the blow up stuff, everything. I had to train, and I learned how to wrestle first. And then, you know, 6-8 months in, as I'm getting ready to start getting out and working shows, you know, that's when they had some bigger people come in and work with me, you know, on how to use my size in the ring. But I think a lot of it was just really built upon, you have to learn just like everybody else learns. You don't get a free pass. You don't get to not do this or that just because of your size. I think that, along with just kind of, you know, what I was blessed and born with on the athleticism side, you know, has gotten me to this point and allows me to do some of the things I'm able to do.
Yeah, I played football. I played baseball. I played college football. Then I'm just like Brian. When I started wrestling training, you know, I was trained like everybody else. You know, another reason that Brian and I got along right away, we did all the blow up drills. We did all the moves. I did take back body drops. But, you know, you know, I'm classified as a brawler now because that's what I'm comfortable doing. But, you know,
Right.
You'd be surprised, you know, that pure style, Brian and I can do that. High flying, you know, we can do that. The thing that really drew me to Brian too, also, and I think what drew him to me, was we're the type of guys where if you tell us we can't do something, we're going to go out and do it just to prove that, hey, we can do this.
Right.
And you know, I actually had to learn to wrestle like a big guy after training, you know, as I'm sure
Right.
Brian did too, because we had learned everything right away. Now it's like, okay, you know everything. Now you have to protect your size. So then
Right.
that's how you learn that. And then, you know, Brian and I, when we broke in, you know, we were part of that group where in order to get anywhere, you had to be 6'4", 200-pound, you know, ripped, jacked, in shape. We weren't that. So we had to learn how to tell a story in the ring. We had to learn how to, you know, sell moves. We had to learn how to get our characters over and just keep our nose to the grindstone, and eventually something would open up. And here it is, you know, we're in Ring of Honor, and it's our character, it's our drive that the fans like, and they respect our guys our size doing stuff. You know, like you said, Brian does stuff at his size no one's expecting to do. And it's funny because him and I will be talking, we'll be texting each other, and we'll be coming up with double team moves. Hey man, can you do this? Yeah, I've done that. What if we did this? You know, and then we'll do it on TV and we'll get a reaction. You know,
Yeah.
okay, we're going to keep that. And then maybe we don't get a reaction. Okay, we're not going to keep that. But like, we're going to keep doing stuff because people don't expect that out of us, you know? So we're going to do that.
Yeah, no, and you made a very good point, and I'll protect it. I'll protect it a little bit by not fully, you know, divulging the secrets. Because when I trained around the same guys. You know, same time you trained Bruiser, and I think Brian, you were around that same time as well. I was at UPW, and one of my head trainers was Samoa Joe, and you know, Joe being a bigger guy, his biggest thing was keeping us doing the calisthenics. You know, I don't know how many Himalayan squats I did outside the ring while everyone else is, you know, working on spots and stuff like that. But what's interesting is that idea of working like a bigger person, and how there's those little things and little cheats that, you know, people don't know, the fans can't recognize, that really takes you from here to here, because you're able to present yourself in a totally different light, but you're also able still to protect yourself because you can wrestle. And that's what I love about what you guys do. I think that no one right now, if you look at the world of tag teams, I mean, there's some good tag teams, but I don't think anybody has that exact chemistry that you guys have, because you guys know how to use the storytelling abilities that are also associated with, you know, putting together a good match. When you look at what you've been able to achieve, and you look at that idea where people tell you, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, what has been the biggest driving factor? Is it, you know, is it trying to make a mark on the business, trying to make a name for yourselves, or is it because you love it and you just go out there and you have the fun that, hey man, if we're going to do this and this is our career and we're together, we're going to have a good time, and people be damned, we're going to do what we do.
We both, Brad and I both want people to remember us. We had one of the matches that really stands out in my mind, and I don't, Brian might agree with me, might not, I don't know, but that kind of solidified us as, hey, these guys are something to contend with, was when it was a 6-man in Philly, when it was Brian, me, and Silas against the Young Bucks and Cody.
Right.
One, there's a lot of eyes on us because it's the Bucks and Cody, but two, they're cardio machines, and we kept up with them toe to toe. We kept up. We did stuff in that match no one expected us to do. And the Philly fans, that's actually what turned us into the good guys. The Philly fans recognize that about us. And Brian and I, when we do our stuff, it's like, hey man, let's go out there. Let's let these people remember us. We've heard no our whole careers. We finally heard a yes. We're not going to waste that.
Yeah.
I think it's like having that chip on your shoulder. It's that, I mean, just, and also too, like, not to be completely corny, but to us, this is the best job in the world. And this is all we've ever dreamed about since we were, since we were little. And I think the journeys that, and not to say people who get it quicker don't appreciate it, but I think just the journeys that we've been on have given us a really, really healthy appreciation for the long road and how long it took to get here. And we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that we're able to hold on to it as long as possible. Not that we're not up to help the next generation, but we ain't ready to move aside yet.
And we're all about helping the next generation, but they're going to get their asses kicked by us in the process. We're going to let them know we're not good. Don't put us out to the shed yet.
We ain't Old Yeller, all right.
Yeah, no, we're here.
Shed
You're about to recognize what bouncers mean business.
Well, and that's again, that goes back to the training mentality. When guys like us trained in the early 2000s, that's what it was. It's like you respect each other, but you don't, you lay it in a little bit. You bring it. And Lord knows, it's funny you say back body drops, because there was one day that I was coming off the ropes, and Joe was the one giving me the back body drop. And for whatever reason, I didn't fling my legs enough. I spiked myself straight on my fucking spine. And that's exactly, that reaction is exactly. It's just like, you just start, but everyone was like concerned for like a split second, and then everyone's just kind of laughing, and you're just going, oh fuck yeah, I fucking gave myself a stinger, I'm a dumbass. It's that camaraderie, and that's that sharedness. And I think that sometimes the kids nowadays, as they're coming up, there's so much more with social media and with the obsession of trying to be famous before being good. And I think that you have to, you have to instill the teaching, but you also have to, show them, hey man, you're not just going to be handed this. You got to work at it, man, because that's what it is. It's a job. It's fun, but it's a job.
Well, this is the greatest job in the world. Brian said it. We get paid to travel the world, drink beer, and punch people. And not only that, but I can do it with my best friend. All the I can tell you how many long weekends or long weeks Brian and I have had, and we spent more time with each other before the pandemic than our own families, and we were both having a blast. Ever since we were little kids is what we've been thinking of. And today's generation, I think you said it right. They want to be famous before they learn. And again, not to say that it's our journey is what put that chip on our shoulder, but like it kind of, you can tell our generation from a different generation. Brian and I have said that before. We sat in the locker room, like, okay, you can tell the guys that we broke in with compared to these younger guys. Not anything against the younger guys, but these younger guys, the way they act, and it's like, hey guys, you'll get it. Slow down.
Yeah, I think I see it. You know, the thing I see with this new generation is they work incredibly hard. You know, when I get out there and see stuff and the stuff I see on the internet is these guys are working. They're working hard, but I don't know how many of them are going to be around 15 years from now like we are. You know, because I some of the abuse. I mean, I think the whole beautiful thing about supposed to be about wrestling is it's the, you know, the old school mentality of making your next shot, making sure you're available. You know, your what's the old saying in football? You know, that your best ability is availability.
Sure.
And some of the stuff I see definitely scares me, and it's stuff that I don't know if I would be doing unless I was getting a pretty healthy you know, check in the mail for it. And I think they work so incredibly hard and take a lot of risk, and I guess it's up to each individual to determine what the value of that risk is. But for me, you know, I've always worked hard, and I always felt like I've always given the fans their money's worth, and but also I've always had a very long career in mind. You know, I've been doing this coming up in November. It'll be 20 years. And I haven't put a end date on when I'm going to be done, because I'll do this for as long as I'm physically capable, because at some point in my life, I'm going to be physically incapable of doing this. And I don't want to look back at that point in life and go, man, I wish I would have stuck around for, you know, another year or two. I love this, and I've done it now for half my life. And I can't imagine, you know, not doing it. So, you know, and we all face father time at some point, but man, I just, you know, I think if I could give one piece of advice to that younger generation, just take care of your bodies, you know, just take care of your body. So you have that, you know, career longevity, because it's a great business.
And that's the other good thing about tagging with a guy like Brian, you know, is that, you know, when we're beat up, we know we're both beat up, but we push each other, motivate each other, but we do it in a safe way, because we both have that same mindset, you know, like, we're not done yet, you know, we got to make this next shot. Hey, can you make this next shot? Yeah. Tonight, can we do this? Because my, you know, this hurts. Yeah, I got you, you know, because like you said, you got to make that next shot, you know. And the younger generation, they're all about the gifts and the memes and all that. It's like, guys, that's great, but you know, what are you gonna do 10 years from now? You know, Brian and I will still be around. We might be, you know, limping around and stuff, but we'll be around.
DJ, I've kind of hogged the time here. Go ahead, throw in a little something, brother.
It's all good. Look, when I heard you guys re-signed back in February, I was excited. ROH, I'm just curious, just how much do you just enjoy just working for this company? Because I can tell you as a fan, I enjoy watching this company. We do a wrestling talk show every week. The one of the main shows I'm ready to talk about is Ring of Honor. How everything during this whole pandemic, I feel you guys, like Ring of Honor, did it correctly. Just everything from how the ring and building was set up, from using the videos on all three sides, to just how exciting which of course Riccaboni and Caprice has always been. I mean, you almost don't need an audience. They are the audience, you know, over there. You know, and I mean, the two matches are always like just great. You can follow the storyline. It's not like if you miss something, you're able to still get caught up. Everything is like Ring of Honor, just right on point. How do you guys just enjoy just working with this organization that you re-signed with back in February?
Yeah, they've done right by us the entire time. You know, it's funny. You know, talked about, you know, you're at the gym with PCO, and I was at the airport gate, 30 minutes away from boarding to head to Vegas last March, and but they looked out for us right from that point, and they still do to this day. This will be the first taping we have without all the protocols, and you know, I think, you know, they've really looked out for us. They've really taken care of us. Everybody's gotten paid. Everybody's gotten taken care of. Nobody's lost their job, which is not the case with every wrestling organization out there.
Absolutely.
So I think you couldn't
Well,
ask for more. You couldn't ask for a better company to work for. They have cared about and prioritized us from day one of this pandemic. And I'm grateful because they looked out for us, they looked out for our families. And at the same time, even though we weren't running shows, none of us lost a dime. And that says something, man. Today's day and age where companies are just about the bottom line. It's all about the bottom line for a lot of companies. Ring of Honor made sure we were taken care of and our families were taken care of and that everybody got paid. And that, again, that says so much about the values of the company, and the company behind it too, Ring of Honor and Sinclair. I think it just says a lot about both companies and, their values.
Yeah. And they re-signed us during a pandemic. You know what I mean? Like Brian and I, our contracts are coming up, and never at once were we worried, like what's going on. Because they, like Brian said, they took care of us. They would do weekly check-ins on us for mental health. They would do, we did these town halls where they just check on everybody on the roster. They'd have everybody on the roster check in and then I think we're the only wrestling company that didn't have a COVID outbreak because of our protocols. And I know talking to I gotta give him props. Ian King, he's a guy who kind of set everything up. He's a guy who he doesn't get enough credit for running the bubble, making sure we're all tested, making sure there's no positive outbreaks, making our schedule so that it's following protocol. And he killed it during the pandemic, and it's funny because Brian and I would always make fun of him on the last day of the bubble because it looks like he's lived 3 lifetimes because he's been dealing with all this stuff. But without a guy like that, we couldn't do what we love. And then doing the new style of tapings and stuff is great because there's no spoilers out there. So you fans, you get to see some, and it's the first time watching it.
Right.
It took a while to get used to because as wrestlers, we're used to that immediate reaction. So now it's okay. We film this, but we have to wait 3 weeks to see it, and then once it comes out, now we have to read it online to see how people react. And that took a while for us to get used to, but it was great because the fans fell in love with Ring of Honor again. The reset was one of the best things I think that could happen.
Oh yeah.
And you asked if we love working for the company, man, this is one of the best companies to work for. They didn't have to take care of us, and they did. And they didn't have to do, they allowed us when everything got shut down, and Brian and I came up with the idea for happy hour. They let us run with it. They let us have the creative control with that. That's how we could stay in front of the fans. Okay, we couldn't wrestle, but we can still be a bunch of assholes on Zoom with fans, and that was that goes to Brian. Brian came up with that idea. We pitched it, they loved it, and it helped keep us relevant. And then now TV's back, and we're still going strong, and that's why July 11th, the pay-per-view is going to be so awesome with those fans there because we've all worked hard as a company to get to this point, and it's going to be a good payoff when we walk out on that stage and streamers come in and the booing and the yelling and the cheering. It's just gonna be great. Can't wait to yell at you putzes.
And everyone that's out there in the Baltimore area, I'm so jealous. You have got. I was looking at tickets today because I was like, let me just see what's there. Maybe I can make a way I can fly out there and then fly right back. And you don't have a lot of seats available, but if you're out there in the Baltimore, please watch this show. It's going to be, when I'm looking at the card, it is stacked.
Yeah.
It is stacked. I mean, and for the fact that you all are starting it off with PCO and Danhausen, that alone is going to get pay-per-view buys up. I can guarantee that is going to happen just because of what you guys are going to put into this match. I also know that the winner of this match get to break into the top 5 ranking of tag teams. And let's talk about it, guys. Let's go ahead and talk about it. You guys.
You mean when the bouncers win, we're going to finally be ranked because we should have been ranked this whole time.
Right.
But they keep not leaving us in the conversation. I just yelled at Ian and Caprice because they don't mention us on commentary when we're the guys that are working hard for all this. And
true,
So when we beat these 2 putzes,
yes,
we become in the top 5, and then we'll go through all that and win the titles.
Yeah, I mean, here's where you're gonna hear this chip come through on our shoulders because, we're tired of being overlooked. We're tired of being passed by. We're tired of feeding off of scraps. We're tired of being pushed to the back burner. We're tired of being the good soldiers that just do what you're told and don't ever really get ahead. We're just tired of it. I mean, you look at the fact that you think of OGK, who hadn't teamed in Ring of Honor in 5 years, and Mike Bennett walks back through the door and he teams with Taven. I thought these guys were my buddies, but we learned the hard way that they're not. They're two of the most selfish pricks on the face of the planet. Right. And they walk. Mike Bennett walks back in the company. They decide they want a team, and the company puts them as the #1 contenders, and they hadn't even had a tag match yet. So it's this is where the chip comes into play now. We're out to prove a lot. That's what the new attitude about what the bouncers is all about. That's what bringing in Ken Dixon with us, and I mean, Ken Dixon is more of I'll say he's more Bruiser's friend than my friend. The man's tougher than a $2 steak, right? I mean,
he's like-minded.
He's as dumb as one too.
He has the same chip on his shoulder that we have. He's just younger than us, and I saw the opportunity to take this young kid who has a chip on the shoulder, put him with us. Just makes us look better. You know, they announced us.
Makes us look better looking too, Bruce.
Yes. And now we're with PCO and Danhausen with good. Yeah, you got PCO who's got all these followers because he's insane, and Danhausen paints his face and speaks in tongues, and everybody loves him. So again, they want to put the bounces with this team to make this team look relevant. Well, we're not going to make them look relevant. We're going to beat them up. We're going to win, and we're going to move into the tag team rankings. And then with Ken Dixon, we're going to move into the 6-man thing, and we're going to go after STP, and we're going to win those too.
Right. So, Brian, now you understand why Bruiser had to just take that bottle and just put it to Taven's head. I mean, at the first, it was kind of hard to see, but now you get it, right?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was just, here's these guys. I've known Taven and Bennett for, really the majority of my career, especially Bennett. I've known him, for 18 years now. And here I thought that, these guys are my friends, look out for my best interests. And really, they were just selfish. They were just, it took me a minute to see what Bruiser was talking about. But then, when I see the actions, when I see myself being used as a pawn in their sick game, maybe, hey, I ain't a fan of Vincent, but maybe he ain't so crazy with some of the stuff he's saying about these guys. You know what I mean? And I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it firsthand. These guys have been there this entire time. Did they ever reach out to me? Did they ever try to get me into Ring of Honor? Did they ever try to get me an opportunity? No, they didn't. Of course not. They didn't do that. I got my foot in the door, and then when I got there, the Bruiser is the one who helped me get this far. So, absolutely. Do I see what his point was now? Yeah, and I'm sorry that I didn't see it sooner. But sometimes, you get clouded and you romanticize friendships that really aren't there,
And let me ask you guys this now that Brian is on the same page as me, and he's, friends are friends, but money is money, and money pays bills.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And now that we're on the same page, honestly, who can stop us when we don't care about anybody else but each other? Before, it was all about having fun, drinking beers, making sure we're having a good time, and getting overlooked. Like Brian said, we're always the good soldiers. When there was we always go back to this time when we did trivia with Ring of Honor. It was a tag team trivia. We weren't even supposed to be in on it. An hour before they go live, someone doesn't show up. They call us. We're there to do it. We're the good soldiers. But yet, when it comes to these rankings, have we been ranked?
Right.
And like I said, now that Brian's on the same page with me, now that Ken Dixon's crazy ass is with us, who can stop us? Who?
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, Go ahead, DJ. Go ahead.
No, I was about to just say, I mean, and just putting PCO and Danhausen together, which they have no chemistry as long as you guys have been together. It's just, yes, it's exciting because, like you say, you got one that's kind of on the crazy tip, and the other one who does paint his face. But that's not what was going to get the 3 count here. It's going to be what that team, that connection that you guys have had for a long time, that's going to do that. And that's why I'm pulling for you guys and know that you're going to pull this off to win this match to kick off the show. Absolutely.
Look, you got one guy, Danhausen. He panders to celebrities. He's pandering to The Rock and to Conan O'Brien, and he's on Renee Paquette's podcast. He's pandering to all these people. And then, come Sunday night, I think I think the goal is, Bruiser, right? We're going to beat PCO so bad, he's going to think he's Jean-Pierre Lafitte again. You know what I mean?
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. And you mentioned Danhausen's talking about all these celebrities, as well. Everyone forgets. I was on the Chris Jericho podcast before it was cool. I was on the Chris Jericho cruise before it was cool. I was rubbing elbows with celebrities too. But you know what? I don't have to paint my face and pander to people to get people to like me. You know? Brian likes me. Ken likes me. My cold beer likes me. That's it. Even my own wife doesn't like me. My own wife and my daughter boo Brian and I because they always think, well, you're not going to win. And they know the winner gets the most money. Well, I'm done with that.
Right. I like the change in attitude. I'm with it. I'm telling you, I'm with it.
Even if you weren't, it doesn't matter to us. It really doesn't. You can tell us you don't like the attitude. We'd be like, okay, cool. Because when we get off this call, it doesn't matter. We're still going to kick the crap out of PCO and Danhausen.
I get it. I see that coming. Matt Michaels.
I just, in thinking of possible down the line meetings, you guys in a 6-man with Shane Taylor and his group could be one of the greatest 6 feuds in the history of wrestling.
I mean, Shane Taylor and Moses especially, like those two like to run their damn mouth.
Yeah,
Shane is a badass. All right, let's not mince words. Let's not be. I'm not taking anything away from Shane Taylor has clawed and fought his way for everything he's ever gotten, earned everything he's ever got. But one thing that gets Shane by is that people get intimidated by him because they know how tough he is. They know how hard he hits, but we don't get intimidated, man. Like we don't shake in our boots because every time, if you're Shane Taylor, you think you're big and bad and tough, which he is, but around the corner lurking is somebody who's bigger, badder, and tougher. And that's the Bouncers.
Man, if you go back in Ring of Honor history, I've wrestled Shane Taylor twice. I've won once. He's won once. I've gone toe to toe with that man numerous times. Brian and I have wrestled SOS as a tag team numerous times. We're not scared of a fight. And again, like Brian said, no disrespect to Shane. He is the baddest on the planet. He is bad. He hits hard. But you know what? We hit hard too. And we don't mind waking up the next day feeling a little sore with a black eye, because when you drink that cold beer and you hold up that 6-man title, everything's okay.
And you know what? Speaking of things that kind of came out of ROH during the whole pandemic, one of the most interesting concepts, and I think one of the most favorited concepps that DJ likes, is the pure championship style. Do either of you guys ever potentially think that, hey, you know what, guys, we'd like to, take a look at maybe wrestling in a pure match or two?
Here's what I have to say about the pure concept. So I love that Ring of Honor did that because it's specific to Ring of Honor, and it's great. The foundation, however, are pompous pricks, because they tout they tout the only style of wrestling is pure wrestling. You shouldn't be punching, you shouldn't be cheating, you shouldn't be doing this. You know what? Brian and I were trained by two of the greatest wrestlers on this planet, Harley Race and Killer Kowalski. How do people not think that we can't wrestle? I mean, you can go back and watch Harley Ric Flair, Starrcade 83. That was a wrestling match. You know what I mean? We just choose the violent side of wrestling because it's what we like to do. We like to hurt people. And it offends me whenever I hear Jonathan Gresham or Rhett Titus or Tracy talking about, you can't, you had to resort to punching. Well, of course I did, because I wanted to win. But it doesn't mean that Brian here, at 400 pounds, if he puts a body scissors on you, you're going to tap,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is this: those guys better hope that the Bouncers don't get that itch, because if we decide to scratch it, there's going to be a whole lot of people in that pure division that are going to be real disappointed when all of a sudden, the rankings 1 and 2 are the Beer City Bruiser and Brian Milonas.
Well, it'd just be fabulous to see you guys just collect the tag titles, the 6-man titles, the pure championship. Grab the TV title while you're
Well, we
at
don't
it.
set limits on ourselves. We don't set caps on ourselves. I mean, Bruiser said it. We're here to make a name for ourselves. You know, at the end of the day, it's you think of all the history in Ring of Honor, you think about the legacies in Ring of Honor, and we just want to etch our name right there with everybody else. And you know, I think it's a situation too where people, you know, might look at like classifications of this guy's on this level, this guy's on this level. But I can tell you right now, without doubt, me and the Beer City Bruiser believe we are two of the best professional wrestlers on the planet. We believe we are one of the best tag teams on the planet, and we dare any man, any faction, any team, anybody try to stop us, try to prove us wrong.
And the other thing I want to bring up to the pure wrestling was great because during the pandemic, it brought all the eyes back to Ring of Honor. It brought a lot of new eyes to help with the reset. Ken Dixon, who recently just joined us, was trained at the ROH dojo by Jonathan Gresham, who, if I do believe, is the current pure champion, correct?
That is
so
correct.
If there was any questions of us in the pure, we could ask him, hey man, what did you see during training? What are Gresham's weaknesses? What are Joe Keys or Dante, or, you know, Ken's got the inside scoop. You know, Brian and I just brush up a little bit. And like Brian said, any faction, any tag team, any 6-man, anywhere in the world, we don't care where it is.
But Gresham is 10-0 and has taken down some of the best, man. I don't know if I know what y'all saying, but I don't know if I can ride with y'all on this one, man. He's a tough one.
Has Gresham ever faced a 300+ pounder, a 400+ pounder?
He hasn't.
Who, by the way, can wrestle. We have that ability.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And like I said, we're not against. We'll wrestle him. We don't get intimidated. Brian said it. We don't get intimidated. You know, we were talking about Shane Taylor. He has a edge on everybody because he's intimidating. Jonathan Gresham, you're right, 10-0. That's an intimidating number. That's very intimidating. Yeah. But I want you to look at me, over 300 pounds. I want you to look at Brian, over 400 pounds. Now look at us together. That's pretty intimidating, isn't it? And now we have a chip on our shoulder. Now we're pissed off. We're drunk and pissed off. That's intimidating. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Gresham be 10-0 in a pure division, but Brian and I, we're 24-0 whenever it comes to a case of beer.
Hey, look, we keep saying it, but there's only been 2 people who ever intimidated me in this world. One was my father, the other was Walter Killer Kowalski. Neither one of them are here anymore. So, you know, there ain't nobody left to intimidate. There ain't nobody left to intimidate me. I can't be intimidated.
It only takes 3 seconds to make sure Gresham's 10-1.
Let me ask you, you know, you just brought up Killer's name, and obviously Bruiser, you trained with Harley. Do you guys each have a standout story that sticks in your mind about each of those guys?
We both have many stories, but
I mean,
it's trying to find what are family friendly. But I got a few.
Yeah, I mean, I think one, and I'll go with the feel good one because I bet Bruiser has a real funny one. So I'll go feel good, Bruiser. You go funny. But I think about so there was a crazy trip up to Canada. It was myself and Ivar, the Viking Raiders, and we were in charge of getting Kowalski, his wife, up to this show that we were all on. Walter obviously making an appearance, and you know, me and you know, I'm gonna call him Hanson because it's, you know, I actually call him Handsome because he was Handsome Johnny for the longest time. But so, you know, we were wrestling teaming, and we get up there, and it's actually the first time I ever met PCO, and he remembered it when I brought this up to him. But long story short, the kid who ran the show, all of a sudden the cash box got lost. And there were a lot of our students up there who were trying to make sure that, you know, because all we cared about was making sure Walter got paid. Right. And the only thing Walter cared about was making sure all of us got paid. And he made sure each and every one of us got paid. On the way back, he wouldn't even let you know, me and Hanson pay for our food on the way back. He insisted upon paying for our food. So that's just, I mean, there's tons of stories like that about Walter, but that just, to me, shows the level of character that Walter had. And you know, he's somebody who had just an enormous influence on me. Really grateful for the amount of time. But people think of all the crazy stories of Walter. There's all the obviously the Yukon Eric story and just, he's this maniacal madman, but in reality, he's one of the smartest, most kind people I've ever met in the pro wrestling industry. And, so just to give you a glimpse of, a different side of old Killer Kowalski, who is dearly missed to this day.
And Harley too was an absolute, he'd give you the shirt off his back. But I'll tell a story that kind of relates to how tough Harley was and just the image that he had projected. So we did the Harley would run the Hall of Fame show in Iowa. And so we were there and we're at the hotel. We did the show. We get done with the show and we're at the hotel bar afterwards. And we had kind of split up where a couple of the boys were at one end of the bar and then a couple of the girl wrestlers were at the other end of the bar. And then off in the distance, Harley was sitting down with his then wife, BJ, Terry Funk and his wife were sitting there too. And, we're all having a good time drinking and stuff. Well, Terry and his wife had left and BJ had left, but Harley wanted to stay behind just to make sure we were all okay. Well, as we're all drinking and stuff, some guys went up to the girls, some just guys that were in the bar, and they were being real jerks to the girls. They were being real rude, real pushy, just very insensitive to the point where us at the other end are like, hey, we need to do something about this. And a guy named Darren Wade had said, well, hold on, I'll take care of this. So he walks over to these guys and he says, hey, you guys need to leave these girls alone. And they're like, why? What are you going to do? You and your boys going to do something? And Darren says, I'm not going to do anything. But in about 10 minutes, you guys are going to hate life. And they're like, why? What's going to happen in 10 minutes? And Darren says, well, in 10 minutes, that guy over there, it's going to take him 10 minutes to stand up and walk over here. And then he's going to kick the shit out of all of you. And they all turn and look, and you see Harley bracing himself, getting ready to get up and stuff, because he's older at this time. And the guy looks over and goes, oh, shit, is that Harley Race? And Darren's like, that sure is. He's like, oh, my God. And all his friends are like, what? He's explaining to him, the strongest man, baddest man on the planet, yada, yada, yada. And they go over to Harley. Now, we can't hear what Harley's saying to them, but there's a huddle around Harley. We're all watching because if something goes down, we got Harley's back.
Right.
Next thing you know, 4 of the 5 guys leave. One guy walks over, and next thing you know, we got shots and beer in front of us. All of us, every single wrestler in there, all the girl wrestlers, all got shots and beer. And the guy goes, we're sorry for your trouble. And he leaves. And Harley waves to us and says, good night, everybody. And he leaves. And it turns out we don't know what he said to them. They all end up leaving and buying us drinks before they left. All because of how tough Harley's, image was. And that's the thing is even before, as older as Harley got, he still was intimidating, man.
Yeah.
Like he had these, and I think Kowalski, Brad, if I remember you telling me Kowalski did too, their generation, their hands were huge. They had giant gorilla paws, and it had to be the generation. Because I remember talking, every time Brian and I share these stories or we're doing these interviews, I remember in a car, I said, Brian, did Kowalski have huge hands? He's like, yeah, man, like they can palm a basketball.
Kowalski's hands, he had this and you can see it in like pictures of him and stuff. He had like this, it was almost like he had like an extra like joint. I'll show you my hand, like in the middle of his hand, because he would just shake and it would engulf your entire hand, which is, he did the claw. So no wonder why he did it. But I've never encountered a human being with like bigger hands than Walter.
Yeah, it's interesting because now I did not meet Killer at any point, but Harley I met probably about a decade ago, and absolutely right. Just the most intimidating person to and I think the most intimidating thing about him wasn't his size, and yes, he does have he had big hands. It wasn't his hands. It was when you looked in his eyes and it just like it could melt you down to like a 5-year-old kid. And it's like excitement and terror at the same time.
And then he had that voice where he'd talk to you like this. And it was a little growly, but it was that quiet. And we knew we were in trouble at the school. It's funny because another way that Brad and I were kind of meant to be friends was when I was training at Harley's, Tommaso Ciampa was there. Well, Brian broke in with Tommaso. So we both have, mutual friendship. But then
Right.
Tommaso used to get us in trouble a lot, down there. And as Brian can say, he used to get them in trouble back home. But I remember Harley yelling at us, and I felt like a little kid because it felt like your father was yelling at you, and you're like looking at Tommaso, who's like your little brother, like, dude, stop! You're yelling at us.
And that he's doing it because he knows he's not going to feel the butt end of it. You guys are.
Yeah.
Because that's how it always works with the guys who instigate it. They just kind of then peel off, and you guys end up doing,
Oh no, Tommaso would take it. Tommaso would take it. He'd get yelled at. Yeah. Straight up. He'd get yelled at.
As we kind of we're kind of getting ready to wrap a little bit, let me ask you both about what it means to you guys, having had this period of time of the pandemic, to actually get to spend time with your kids. Has that been a little blessing in disguise, just to get a little bit more home time with them?
My wife comes down the days that I get on a plane. My wife will text Brian, and Brian can back me up on this. My wife will text Brian
it's your turn. I think the one this past week was, I babysat enough. It's your turn to take them for custody.
But no, on a serious note, it's great because my older daughter, I have 4 kids, and my oldest one, because I started early, she lives in Illinois, so talking to her through Zoom and stuff. And my son's in the military; he lives in Washington, serving our country, and talking to him. But my youngest now, she just graduated high school, so I got to get real close to her, and she's getting ready to go to Arizona State and stuff. So it was fun doing that. And
wait, Bruiser, you're letting her go to Arizona State?
Hey man, she's got to make that money, because when I get older, someone's got to change my diapers. So she's got to make that money, and she wants to. She's a great special effects makeup artist, and that's what she's going to school for. So she can make all that money and take care of the old man.
Wow.
Yeah, my kids are a little bit younger. Mine are 9 and 5. So I'm still very much at the beginning of it. Bruiser's at the end of it now. I'm very much at the beginning of it. But yeah, it's been great. I think it's I've read a lot of stuff about it, a lot of articles too, talking about how the last year has really made people just reevaluate life and how you're spending time and things of that nature. So yeah, getting more family time, getting to do more things. We had just purchased a house like right in November before, so that's been kind of cool too, to have almost like a year to just kind of do stuff around the house and get the house in order. And
sure.
But yeah, I think you ask me, depends on the day sometimes, because they're also at ages where they aggravate each other a lot too, so they fight a lot. But to have that time and to be able to spend that time, and well, they're chomping at the bit to get to a wrestling show too. I get my son cuts a hell of a promo on me whenever I go to a wrestling show, and he can't go. He gets real pissed off. He really likes it. My daughter, she likes going too, but I think she's at an age now where she kind of gets worried that dad's getting hurt. So
it's great too, because like Brian said, I'm at the end of it with my kids, and Brian's into it. And Brian, it's funny because his daughter's now getting the age where it used to be when we were on the road, she'd, oh no, dad, this, and this. And he said the other day, like, she can't wait for me to leave. I go, yeah, man, that's a girl. Look at that, and it breaks your heart as a father, because that's your little girl, and then, you eventually get to
we're doing these bubbles, and I can't even get him on the phone with me, I'm on, and because these bubbles, it's funny, like the bubbles, like the first one, I was gone for 9 days, and I could barely get them on the phone with me, because they're at ages now too, especially as the world's opened up, they're doing baseball and softball and dance, and my son's gonna probably play flag football, and they got like their own social lives, man. Like,
I do have to say,
dad takes the back burner.
And I do have to say that it was cool. 21 years I've been on the road, so I've missed birthdays and graduations and baseball and softball. And this last year, as things open up, you know, I made almost every one of my daughter's softball games. My oldest did a fitness competition recently, and I got to go to it. My son came home for leave, and I was here for it, and that was really cool because as professional wrestlers, you know, we're on the road and we miss stuff. You know what I mean? And like, I know Brian's been able to go to his daughter's stuff and his son's stuff.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. I miss wrestling. I miss being on the road, but like, if you have to look at the flip side, that's the plus that came out of it.
Yeah, Ring of Honor. I mean, it's funny. Ring of Honor schedule is kind of like clockwork. So since I've been in Ring of Honor, you know, I've missed her dance recital every year. Obviously, last year they didn't have the dance recital, so they got to get to see her dance for the first time since like, you know, live since like 2017 or 2018 this year. So I'm pretty glad they had the house lights down and there was social distancing still in the seats. But you know, or even just you know, Ring of Honor, a big travel weekend for us is always Mother's Day. So to be here, to be able to you know, celebrate that and some of those little things, you definitely take those for granted. But at the same time, you know, my family understands, and just like Bruiser's family understands that you know, what we're doing is for them. I mean, it's for us, you know, I'm not gonna lie totally, but it's for them though. It's making a better life for them. It's allowing you know, allowing us to do things like, you know, buy a house and go on vacations and so they're definitely, you know, to definitely have a, you know, my wife is an unsung hero in it all, you know, she's the one that's got especially this last year, you know, where we had these long bubbles, you know, she's been the one that has to take care of the kids just to get them up by herself, get them ready, deal with them, you know, so it's, you know, wrestling's a big burden on the family. So you got to really have a strong family to get through it. So I think I've never been more grateful for that setup. I know Bruiser is too. And you know, and quite frankly, I mean, essentially we're family now, you know, like his wife texts me all the time, tells me I got to take him. So I said to her, I'll take him, but she's got to take my son because he's a wild man. So.
She was like, nope, you keep it is great though, too, because now that we're starting to get back normal, our first house shows are in Philly, August 20th and 21st. My wedding anniversary is that weekend. And my wife was just saying, it's funny, you're here for all this stuff, but our wedding anniversary, you're on the road. Well, see, but like Brian said, you know, you got to have a strong partner, you know, in this. And we both do. We both lucked out in that department, you know, and the great thing is our families get along too, you know, like my wife knows his family knows my family. And I think that's another reason that we're so good on the road is because, you know, we can talk about our home life, and our home life, you know, they know each other. So,
yeah. TJ, do you have anything as we start to wrap here?
No, I'm all good, man. I just want to let everybody know, again, the show is this Sunday, Best in the World at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, the bouncer is going to be on that free hour, which would be 3 p.m. And if you have the Honor Club, you'll be able to see it there, or on multiple platforms, it'll be available. So again, watch their match, because it's definitely going to make you go ahead and order the rest of that pay-per-view, I guarantee. I'm excited to see you guys, and I thank you for doing the show, man. But I'm really pumped and hyped. Great to see fans back. Great to see just an awesome Ring of Honor pay-per-view, man. I'm excited.
Well, we're excited to perform. Like Brian and I have texted each other every single day. We keep each other accountable in the gym and stuff like that. But we also talk about how excited we are. You know, we're dicks to fans right now, but we do truly want you guys there. We want the fans there. We want you loud. We want you screaming.
We want witnesses, damn it.
We do. We do. And if this doesn't sell you on our match, you have two drunk guys that are willing to do anything. A guy who electrocutes himself and a guy that carries around a jar of teeth. What else could you want? And then Ken Dixon running around the outside all crazy like.
Right.
No,
I was about to say, and I can't wait till you guys come back to Vegas, man. We you know, not only we gonna
we can't wait either.
Yeah,
we can't wait to be back in Vegas either.
Yeah,
Vegas.
Yeah. So it's gonna be on. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. I guess my final thought is this: Bruiser, being a born and raised Chicago guy myself.
I'm sorry.
Uh-oh.
Man,
I'm sorry.
For those of you who don't follow baseball or don't know the massacre that just happened to my Cubs up in Milwaukee, Jesus.
You like
Oh,
flying that L, didn't you?
uh,
Give me your address. I'll send you that broom that you guys, that we swept you with. I think as I have the Brewer game on the TV in the background, my wife's freaking out. I think we're 7 games ahead of you, right? Yeah, I mean.
oh no. You guys were, as of this morning, 8.5 up on us because
Oh,
we're
that's
down.
my bad. 8.5.
Hey, and I mean, I don't know if you're a basketball fan, the Bucks are in the finals too, right?
That they are.
Yeah. See, now the thing is that honestly, I always had an affinity for the Bucks. I grew up, the first basketball I remember was Magic and Bird, right? So the Lakers, even though I was in Chicago, the Lakers were my first team and by far my favorite team.
And
That's
then
my team.
That's Brian's team.
I'm a Lakers fan.
Oh, and I'll tell you, Brian, have you ever met Magic?
I have not. I would. That would be. We talked about intimidating. I might be slightly intimidated by meeting Magic Johnson.
Funniest thing about Magic, you would think that, right? Because it's like you're nervous like a kid. All he does is look, and as soon as he smiles, it's like you're just like, oh my god, all right, hey, what do you? You're paying attention. Oh my god, yeah, it is. It is like he makes you so comfortable. But I got to say, the Bucks. One of the things I liked, I was a big Jordan fan, but one of the things I liked about the Bucks is right around that time when I was somewhere around 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade, playing basketball, we would travel up to go see the Bucks play because it was a lot easier getting a ticket to watch the Bucks play than trying to get a ticket in Chicago.
Jackson, get the Bears ticket now.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, Josh Fields might turn things around for us, but
you've been saying that for years.
I know.
Before Cutler.
But
I can do this all day.
Yeah, I know. And when you have to, when you're like, you got to go. If you never saw Walter Payton play, you don't understand how good the Bears were for a season.
Yeah.
Season.
for a season.
For a season.
Yep. But no, I got enthralled. The Bucks. Jack Sikma was one of my favorite all-time players because he was one of those on that verge of those big, goofy white guys who actually could play basketball. And it gave you hope as a kid playing like, oh, I don't have to be flashy like a Magic or a Jordan. All I have to do is be right by the basket, grab a rebound, and put it back in. Awesome.
And you just described my entire basketball career from elementary school through high school.
Right. Exactly. And the funniest thing too is that the way we grew up, right? Especially if you were playing on the playground with your other guys who were on your team or your friends, man, I never threw so many elbows after I got the ball. Clear out the space. Can't do that shit today. It's like, it pisses me off. It's like, man, because
I'll tell you how good I was at basketball. I'll give you a quick story. This is how good I was at basketball. I was in 7th grade. I was like the 12th man on the bench. We played against the dude who from I think it's like probably the only NBA player from New Hampshire. Matt Bonner was his name. Matt Bonner had a good career.
Yeah.
But he played for I played for Parkside Junior High School in Manchester, New Hampshire. He played for Concord. And my coach put me in the second quarter because he was killing us. And he goes, "You got 5 fouls. Don't waste them." And I fouled out in under 10 minutes in the second quarter. So that's how good I was at basketball.
Hence why he's a great professional wrestler.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, we could talk all day, but of course it is getting later by you guys. So I want to make sure we let you guys go. Man, it's just a pleasure to talk with you guys. I can't wait for the show this weekend. And you guys got a nice, a Sunday night, which is also good because usually pay-per-views are either on Friday or Saturday with ROH. So hopefully that brings in more of a viewership as well. Anyone listening or watching, if you've never checked out ROH, this is the perfect opportunity to do it because the card is stacked. It is loaded. And we didn't even mention like the world championship match between Roosh and Bandito.
That's gonna be insane.
That's
That's gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
It's funny. I when Bandito won and now it's Bandito and Roosh, I literally just said, hey, somebody should just tell Gravity to take a break. You know,
Right.
Yeah.
Bandito goes to jail for breaking the law of gravity every show he's on. So
yeah.
You're going to see why the tagline is true. You know, the best professional wrestling on the planet, best in the world. Ring of Honor has always been at the forefront of the business since inception, on the cutting edge. Everything that kind of exists now and a lot of the popular styles of pro wrestling were brought to the United States by Ring of Honor, and that style was pushed forward by Ring of Honor. So, you know, we're really excited, obviously for our own match, but really just for, you know, what the company's going to present. And if you're a fan of professional wrestling, you know, no matter what style of professional wrestling you love, I think you're going to have a hell of a time watching Best in the World this Sunday night. It's going to be something special.
There you go. The best in the world. The best pay-per-view you can, you know, take in this weekend. It's going to be hot. It's going to be, you know, so much excitement and energy because of the crowd coming back for the first time. And then, of course, when you guys get done, you head out and go grab a little meal at Joe's there. And, you know, what else can you ask for?
Yeah.
We're going to consume lots of adult beverages after Best in the World. So
that's before the match.
Yeah. We're on early. We could just, after our match, we just get to sit back with the rest of y'all and watch the best wrestling pay-per-view you're going to watch this year. So
Right, yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Again, thank you guys for participating, and have a great show this weekend. Can't wait to see what you guys do with PCO and tables. I'm assuming that just seems natural. And thank you guys for tuning in and listening and watching, and we'll see you next time.